uh, a little nervous for tomorrow.
My bad. I was just showing them my good side. All my sides.
Yeah, you gotta let them know, bro. You never know who's tuned in on these YouTube videos, bro. So you always just gotta let them know what you're working with. And trust us, here at Lose the Tempo, got the whole nine, homie. As Milk said.
The 9.
As Milk said. Legends of Chamberlain Heights. Oh, I missed that show, dude. I really missed that show. A question though. You think that'll get picked up from another streaming service or that's just done?
It's done.
Done?
It's done.
Over with. Yeah, it was a good run.
It had its run. It was low key. I mean, it got canceled when it got canceled. It is what it is.
I don't know. I just felt like it didn't really. I mean, yeah, it did have 2 seasons. I just felt like it didn't give it a long of a chance. Because you see, like shows like South Park, they're still being very controversial with their content, and they're still around and about. I mean, I guess it's just a big of an audience with South Park. You know, they've been around since the 90s. Maybe I don't know. I think 80s too. No, I know
I'm not
90s. That show's been out since the 90s, so I could see why maybe they don't want to cancel a show at Comedy Central, where most likely, I mean, I would still think that's like one of Comedy Central's like golden gooses, right? The South Park.
I don't know. I just know at one point Comedy Central went bankrupt and was no longer a thing.
Oh, real shit?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
And then they put all their stuff on YouTube, and I don't know what's going up with them now, but yeah, they didn't really have much. What they have? South Park?
Damn, yeah, that's honestly the when I think about MTV now, all I think is
Comedy Central.
ridiculousness.
Comedy Central.
No, yeah, I'm telling you, like when I think of MTV, like when you think of channels, you think of like off the bat like a show or like something that's representing that channel. That's obviously like the forefront of that. Comedy Central, I would think be like South Park. MTV in that example, I would think ridiculousness. Every time I come across like a channel like MTV, they just blasting ridiculousness, bro. And I'm just thinking like, damn, like, is this really like all out of all the IPs I would think MTV has? Like, this is literally like the only one that's like, if you're putting it on air, I'm guessing that's the one that's collecting like the viewership out of all the other IPs that MTV might have. So I think that's just kind of interesting. Cause you look at MTV channel, dude, like most of the majority of it's
during the day. Like during the daytime, it's all ridiculousness and stuff, and then during like the evening time, it's actual shows and stuff because they think, oh, what is our audience? It's young adults or young teens, and what are they doing during the time period between 7 a.m., 6 a.m. to like 3, 4, 5 o'clock? They're either at school or at work.
Facts.
So why would they play their primetime shit during that? They're just gonna play some reruns of some shit that's kind of popping, which ridiculousness is something that you could watch anytime during the day because there's clips of everything pretty much. It's just funny shit.
That is true.
And then after that, like during like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, they're gonna put their actual airing shows that do numbers and stuff like that because that's when their audience is at home. But for Comedy Central, their audience, they just didn't have one. And that's why it was like dissipating.
I wonder what went down with MTV, bro. Because I remember when I was young, going to the TV channels and coming across MTV, I would see a lot more programs centered around music, like music videos. Even when it did shows like MTV Cribs, like they would still kind of incorporate some sort of like music artist or band or anything like that. And it seems like it's gotten more towards like the reality TV show type of content on MTV. So I'm trying to figure out like what made MTV kind of center around the content more like into reality TV or like maybe not necessarily music, right? But it's just like some other entertaining. I mean, it's entertaining content, but like yeah, the direction from like let's go in on like just music content, and it wasn't music content like all the time. They had other like they had Was it? I don't know if it was on this channel. I might be talking about Spike TV though, but I think maybe MTV did have it like that next. I remember when the girls would have, or the guy or the girl, they would have like a bus come to them, and they would have like their like selection of dates that they could go with and choose. I'm not sure if that was Spike TV or MTV, but they still had some entertaining content. But there was definitely a much more better balance of music and like entertaining like reality TV shows. And then now, obviously, it just seems like it's all majority of it's just reality TV shows. So I'm actually just very curious as to how MTV went in that direct. Like how? Yeah, I guess
think
it's just more
Next
money
was
in that.
just the same thing. It's just a reality TV show. I think it's all the same. I don't know. They got more views than music.
No, that's true. Nah, I feel you though. Nah, I was just wondering because I remember for during a period of time, like I used to love going to MTV and just checking out new music, and I wish I could still say that about MTV. But I mean, we got SoundCloud for that, so shout out to SoundCloud. Yeah, SoundCloud in the building, man. Lose the tempo in the building.
True.
Spotlight
Lose the
podcast here.
tempo.
How you doing today, Robert?
Good, chilling. Just got out of work not too long ago. Out here. Got the weekend to ourselves. Myself. Got the show tomorrow. Got
Oh,
your
that's
show
true.
tomorrow.
Mhm.
You ready for that?
Kinda. Nah, I'm not. I haven't finalized like my whole selection yet for tomorrow, but I'm kind of ready. Yeah, I'm gonna finalize my set tomorrow morning. By the time this comes out, I'll already have done the show, but for sure, uh, I got most of my stuff ready. I just want to do another like edit or DJ edit too. I think I'm gonna go the festival DJ approach tomorrow. Like
The
just go like go
festival?
ins on edits. Like I really don't do that shit though, but I want to just try out a different approach on tomorrow and see how that works out. I'm not too sure. I'm still thinking about it. I still got tonight to think about how I want to go about that because I was gonna spend sometime tonight and in the morning to kind of just go over.
You've done a set with a lot of edits before, yeah?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this one I want to go. I want to go very very. I want to double down on that shit for sure. Like on some actual like festival shit. Like I actually want to take a picture at the end. Like hey, let's all take a picture. Do that kind of stuff. But we'll fill it out. We'll fill it out. My first time at the venue, 7 Degrees Resort at Laguna Beach.
Yeah, yeah.
For me, it seemed like it came pretty quick. Like from the time the planning, like the booking, and like the whole like promoting for it, and now, I mean, it's tomorrow. I mean, for me, it just seemed very quick. I mean, I don't know. We just always seem
I just
busy
feel like
in between.
I feel like it's because like you're not the one actually like super hands on with this one. It didn't you weren't able to like gauge how close it was coming and whatnot, you know?
I feel you.
It was just like a date on the calendar type shit.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? Every time I stop myself a lot of times from trying to find ways to like get the event out there. Cause I was even thinking of like doing like a group chat with, cause we're not like in a group chat or anything like for this event. Like it's all been kind of dealt with all through emails, but like the kind of person that I am, I've always like been very like collaborative when it comes to like sharing an event, trying to get the show date out there. And I was even thinking of like trying to round up everybody that's on the lineup, like on a group chat, and like find out ways to like see how we could get that, like how to do more. But sometimes I try to be like, well, I'd rather maybe like save that for like the organizers that are like in charge of that, because maybe they have like a particular agenda of like how they want to go about promo. Cause like since I throw like the shows like with low and like it kind of becomes almost second nature to kind of go in there and be like, oh yeah, like I think we should do this, then we should do this, like trying to help out the event. Cause there's just DJs that get booked and like you don't hear from them up until like the show date, and then they pull up and that's cool.
Yeah.
But I feel like I kind of up until the day I kind of try to want to like talk with the group with the lineup and try to like. But that's just like me getting used to like how when I throw the shows with low and like I just make everyone to go into a group chat and like we all just kind of stay updated on things.
Yeah, and you're like more like dealing with more like, like underground and like artists like that in nature, Like cuz in a sense like even in the group chats, you don't necessarily have the headliner in the group chat, so it's not like we're all, like type shit, but it's cuz when you're doing a show like maybe a bigger show like that, I mean, the headliners aren't really obligated for any of that. You know, they're just
No,
there.
no, they're not really. I mean, if I'd always
If it's in contract, maybe a post for the date, but
mm,
not really like above that anything else. But I mean, like for instance, like for this upcoming show, you could have done that like on your own. You know, like
no,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
think like you would have stopped like anyone in the group chat from making another group chat with some of the artists. You know.
I just don't want to feel like sometimes I come off as like that person that's trying to feel that they're trying to like make it like it's theirs.
What do you mean?
If that makes sense, like I don't want to make it feel like people are coming like to me about for the event because I feel like I could get like that where I'll go on in and be like, oh yeah, like I think we should like since we're all like on the lineup, I think we could all like strategically like post on this day, like I sometimes
Oh,
like
that's what you want.
like yeah like I feel like because I like getting into that kind of stuff. I feel like I want to do it, and I feel like sometimes I just want to see if like organizers would do it, but they some do, some don't, and I try not to feel like I look like I'm getting too involved, if that makes sense. Like I don't want to try to like strip away.
I feel like when you're talking to DJs,
I don't know if I'm making sense though. Like I don't
not
know.
like what you're saying is what you're saying. That's how you feel. That's what you want to do. I think how it comes off as from a DJ perspective, like don't tell me how to promo. Like you could tell me when, but don't tell me like how. Maybe like or even like when, because maybe like because I'm a DJ, I want to promo on a certain day that aligns up with my release, not your promo,
Yeah,
not your, I'm still gonna promo the show, but on my terms, like,
and that's cool. I'm open up for conversation. Like
because I'm pretty sure, because at the same time you're DMing DJs,
yeah.
so like, that's when you tell them when to promo, that's maybe like it could come off as you like taking away some of their like freedoms of how they want to roll out their promotion and stuff like that.
And not that I introduce myself with like, oh, I think we should do this. I feel like I'll usually open up with like, oh, how's everyone's like promotion schedule looking like? Like I don't necessarily want to try to like force anything. Like I'm not really trying to like. I just like to see like I'll just try for the questions sometimes. Like, oh, how's everyone's promo schedule looking like? But that's the thing. That's just because like I just like the promotion aspect of like things. Like I just want to make sure that like I just want to make sure like all of our people know that we're having a show. Like and I feel like there's like some people in groups and on lineups.
But DJs aren't promoters, so
No, they're not. But I feel that if you're gonna be playing somewhere,
it's not.
You should have the decency at least to promote for your following. Because if I was following a DJ and they never promote that they like playing anywhere or whatever, and like people just don't know that you're not announcing shit, then like if I was a fantasy artist,
what if their image is to keep them low key right now? What if their plan is to stay kind of low key because they want to keep shit subtle, and then when they do pop out, they want to make it a big thing, but at the same time, they still want to make bread and.
I mean, yeah, that's an interesting approach.
So
I like to see an artist
because what you're saying, like how I'm just trying to give you like the devil's advocate of what you're saying. Because like you said, if you're telling them when to promote, whatnot, like when you should go, maybe even how. I'm not saying you're telling them how or whatnot, but like at that sense, like you're talking to DJs, they're not promoters. And at the same time,
I mean, sometimes they're not DJs. Like sometimes there's some artists too,
Exactly, they're DJs, artists. When I say DJ, it's you're DJing your music. So whether you're an artist or not, you're DJing your music. You're on the lineup to DJ, not make a song performance.
No, true.
So you're DJing. I'm sorry, whether you're an artist or not, it's synonymous, bro. But like. Fuck, I forgot where I was going.
It's anonymous to an extent. Just because there are artists that do live performances. Can't take that away from that. And like,
but they're not DJing then. They're doing a live performance. They're not DJing. So there's a difference.
Okay, so would you consider live performance DJing? And then on top of that, like some sort of instrument?
Right now, we're talking about DJing. You're not. Right. You're not. You're taking it out of context right now. We're talking about DJing. We're talking about you getting people for DJing.
No, but
nothing else.
but I want to understand, like, if a DJ starts singing, then at that point it becomes a performance.
They're DJing still, and they
Okay.
started singing.
Okay.
They're
Okay.
DJing.
I'm just trying to
and
like.
you're booking someone to DJ.
Right. Okay.
It's not whatever.
I'm booking.
You're getting.
I'm booking someone
semantics.
depending on the agreement of what's contracted.
Whatever semantics, like.
True.
I'm saying, but the DJ is not a promoter, bro. Like,
right.
Like whether you want him to promote a certain way or not, like that's just you wanting him to do something, bro. Like maybe he doesn't want to be the person that posts all his shits on his social, bro. Like,
true.
You know, have you ever some people don't do that. Some artists don't post their flyers on their socials.
Nah.
Period.
Nah. Yeah, some don't. Just strictly
so it's
press.
like you telling them when to promote and whatnot. It's like. I'm not saying it comes off a certain way. It's just people could look at it a different way, like, I'm gonna maybe announce something soon. Maybe with this announcement, I'll attach this to the promo. Like the shit like that. Because, I mean, if you're like I said, what you're talking about right now was you group chatting DJs, not group chatting their managers or the promoters or whatever.
Right, just like
to talk
that
about
group
promotion.
Chat. Right.
If you want to talk about promotion, contact the person that's ahead of the promotion or whatever like that, or talk to them. Be like, oh, do you do your own promotion? Yeah, cool. I'm gonna add you to this group, and go about it that way, But yeah,
no, I understand that. I think what I'm trying to explain more is that like I feel like I try to get like I should just like stay out of that shit. Just let me do how I handle my shit. You feel me? I feel like because I come from the instinct of because I'm throwing shows because I'm usually just used to like getting more involved. Like
what's wrong? Like I said earlier,
there's nothing
what's
wrong
with you like going to just DM the other DJs, be like, oh hey, we're gonna DJ the same lineup. Do you guys want to do this? But I thought it was more that. Like, so
oh no. I meant like when you're just getting booked for just to play. I feel like for me, okay, my bad. I feel like this conversation kind of took it to a different turn than I wanted to. More so, I suck at explaining things, but more so like I just got booked to DJ, but I didn't get like booked to like get involved with the group and like see how they're feeling. Because that's like how I am with like when I'm at low end, like I'm just seeing how everyone's doing, like type shit. Like I don't get paid for doing that, And if I feel like I get into that tendency of like like reaching out to the group and seeing what they up to. But I remember that this is not my show. Like I don't need to be doing this.
Yeah, that's.
So, but I feel like with Lowen, like okay, like I'm checking in. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's what I was trying to say. Like I'm not necessarily getting paid to reach into these group chats and like you mentioned earlier, like the bigger artists, they're not necessarily contracted to like get involved with group chats. And I feel like I get into that tendency of trying to get involved with like. Like I was like hitting up Varric and like Miles too. I was telling them, hey, like what else can I do? Like what can I do to like help promote the event? I don't necessarily need to do that. Correct? I just need from this contract, I just need to show up and like DJ. You feel me? But like that's just how I am. That's like my tendency. Like I'm that person to reach out, like wanting to get involved. But I keep forgetting that I don't need to get involved. Like
because if they wanted you to do more on the promotion aspect, they would have emailed it in the way they contracted you to DJ there,
Yeah, that's how I feel. And I feel like I lately I've been just fighting those tendency of like, no, you don't really gotta be like.
Yeah, I feel like you gotta take the cap off of hosting and remember.
Yeah, I'm trying to like, yeah, that's the conversation I was trying to have. Like, and not that I'm trying to like, and not that I'm personally trying to tell these people how to promote. It's just that I feel like that sometimes I get into the habit of like trying to get involved and like checking in with people as if I am hosting. Yeah. I forget that for this show, I'm just playing and showing up and dropping music.
Yeah.
And that was really what I was like talking about. Like my tendency to like get involved, maybe more than like how you said, like in this case, like if you're just getting booked to just show up and play and DJ, maybe that's something that you don't have to do. You don't have to get involved with the other lineup. You just need to show up and just play, right? On that contracted level.
That's how some people like. I mean, when you do like these big lineups or these big shows, sometimes. I mean, we've experienced it when we went to like the show for the Halloween when you play Virtual Riot. The DJs didn't necessarily all like talk to each other beforehand. They just showed up without knowing who each other were. Maybe they talked to each other, maybe they didn't, but they all went on their respective way. And it was the people who were throwing the show's responsibility to promote. I already did my part of promotion with my name.
Right. Yeah.
You feel me? Like that's the perspective some artists have to take now. Like you don't have to do all this promotion. My name, the fact that you've been working so long, putting the grind in, my name's in my promotion's in my name, my branding.
Yeah.
You feel me? So that's what you contracted me. Some people don't have that yet, so that's why they have to promo up the ass, you know?
Right. Okay.
So that's just what it is. I feel like you just remember your HUSKI brand, you worked for yourself to not be able to do that at a certain level, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, some artists don't do that shit. Period. Like a sudden death, he doesn't post all his flyers on his fucking page, bro. He has like 6 posts on his page, dog. Like,
true. Yeah, he still packs the show.
Exactly. So it's like he'll put it in a story.
Yeah, and that's about it.
That's what stories are for 24 hours.
Yeah, that's about it.
But then see, because his branding is so strong, he'll post it in his story one time or somewhere. We'll post it somewhere, and then just a bunch of people will post that flyer and be like, "Oh, I'm going to a sudden death show," and tag sudden death in whatever they're posting in relation to the flyer, and then he'll repost that on his flyer or on his story.
Yeah,
and that'll go on for days until the day of, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like that's how hard his grind was. That his name did that shit. He didn't have to promote it for what?
No.
Yeah, just the difference.
Yeah, true. Yeah, what you want to talk about today, bro? What's on your mind?
I listened to the Swedish House Mafia album this morning.
Yeah,
that was the first album I listened to this morning. Yeah, I really liked it a lot. It was cool. Did you listen to it by chance?
Honestly, I skimmed through it, so I didn't fully listen to the album like from start to ending. I just went to the tracks. I was like, this is the feel, okay. This is the feel, okay. This is the feel. The one that caught my attention was
Alright, so you just did DJ brain through it real quick.
Yeah, I just looked at the drops.
Um,
the one with ASAP Rocky, that one was interesting. I liked
cool.
which one was it? It was like, I think it was 16 point. So it was an instrumental. There was no vocals on this one, but it was like towards the end. I think it was like the third to last track. There was that one. The one with Weeknd was cool. I've been listening to that one for a couple times. That one's cool. I mean, just from the skimming that I did, it seemed like a good album. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't hear from full to. When you told me about it, I was like getting ready and like I was just like, fuck, I'm gonna just skim through it and like see, like I'm gonna fully listen to the ones that caught my attention like right away. But there'll be a time pretty soon where I'll like sit down through the whole thing and like be like, okay, like.
Okay, let's set some ground rules in. What's your definition of a good album, and what's the difference between a good album and like a great album? What's good to you? Like, is that the top measuring stick for you when you say good album? Because like I don't know how to rate what you just said. You said hey, it was good. What does that mean though? Like,
my perception of a great album is if I could come back to it a year or two later, and I wanted to.
So then, what is this?
We don't know yet. It just came out. I mean, for me, yeah, it's still too early. I mean, at least from my opinion, like I told you, I skimmed this, so my opinion's not as valid. Because again, I didn't hear it from. Did you get a chance to listen to all the tracks? Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So obviously, like my opinion, very not valid. Because I just came through the show on some DJ shit, and the ones that came interesting to me was the ASAP Rocky one. There was the one before that segued into the Rocky one. Not segued, but it just kind of brought like that halt to like what was going beforehand to kind of prepare for the Frankenstein. I think that's what it's called. Swedish House Mafia, ASAP Rocky, Frankenstein. Yeah, check that out. That's the one that caught my attention when I was skimming through it. So far it looks like a good album, but for me, a great album would be like something that I enjoyed it. All these musical pieces connect to tell this story. And like in a year or 2, 3 years later, I can still vouch for it. I think that's a great album. I think even more than a decade, if I can still vouch for it, It's a great album. 2000 the was 2001, 2002 with Dr. Dre. I think that's a great album. Um, Skrillex's Recess. I don't think that was an album. I think that was an EP. I think that was a good EP for me, but I don't think that was a great EP. That one I could go back and be like, oh yeah, like I still go back to this and like bump it. I guess it just depends. Like that's my
Let's try
definition
to
of a
keep
great
it on
album.
albums real quick though.
Okay, yeah, okay. So that's my perception of a great album is that I feel that the album did a great job portraying the concept of what this album was trying to say, regardless of how many tracks. To me, I don't care about how many tracks in the album. It could be 11, 20. The length doesn't really factor in a great album to me, as long as all the musical pieces click together. And if I'm a kid, I hate to repeat this, but it's just this is what I look at it for great albums. I can still vouch for it years later. You know, it's replayable. I like it. You know, what about? Do you think is it too early to judge if it's a great album, or do you feel that it was a great album? Like, what are your thoughts on the album? Yeah, because they just dropped today, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Today's Friday. Yeah, it dropped this morning. Oh well, technically it dropped yesterday at 9. That's when the streaming platforms
PM
in
Pacific.
California,
Hey, Lamel.
You know, repeat. So we've had till 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know? I'm just big into albums. Period. I like albums because they're a collective of work from an artist, and especially if it's on DSPs, nice and packaged. Especially if it's on like the iTunes new release and stuff like that. That means there was a lot of money put into it. That means there's a lot of production put into it. So like that's something I really look at because that's meant to be their biggest project, or like that meant something to what they put out, you know, to the person to whoever put out the albums. In this instance, it's Swedish House Mafia, and they had not put out an album in a minute. So like it was interesting to hear what they came in, and I really like the first song that they started with. Let me get on my notes real quick because I did write it down. They came in with the song, I believe it was Time. I think that's the first track in their album. I don't know, just off that first track, you could tell that they try to put direction in the album. And it really did. Like the first few tracks, I want to say like the first 4 or 5 tracks had like a similar feel in it. They were different. They had vocals. It gave you a nice really feel. Each vocalist like had their own story, like their own pain within the track and whatnot, right? Like it was real cool. I could see a lot. What I see a lot of out of this album from the first few tracks, I see a lot of edits. I see a lot of remixes. I see a lot of that off the first few tracks for sure. So I mean that's what I see like off the back. Um let's see. My bad. It's called Paradise Again. So yeah, so Time was the first track. The next track,
I like Time. Actually, I actually like that one.
Yeah, that was the first track. So up to track like I wanna say after Red Light, I think if they would have ended the album there.
How many tracks after Red Light? Because I just looked at it.
Red Light is track 13.
And how many tracks in this
17
album?
tracks.
17.
Yeah. I think those last 4 tracks, if they would have held off on those tracks, released it
on a deluxe edition type shit,
like in 2 weeks or so,
I think that
would have been cool.
Oh,
but I think this would have hit a lot harder if it was just a little smaller. And because after, like I said, after Red Light, Can You Feel It, 1930, Another Minute, and then For You, they kind of give me like the same feel as like the beginning tracks. And I feel like they could have held off on that, like I said, on the deluxe. So if they would have kept it at 13 tracks, this would have been like an amazing. Like I really would have liked this album a lot more. But
yeah. So you're thinking they got the message, their like message across at Red Light, Is
Yeah,
that what
because
you were
after
saying?
that was like a weird direction. Not a weird
Okay.
direction, but it didn't have like no more cohesiveness really. It like I liked how it was like very somber at first, but with a cool like EDM housey vibe, techie vibe in that first track, and then the next like three tracks or so, it's kind of like that. They have the weekend track in there that gives it more of like an upbeat vibe, and then they go into the Mafia track, which gives you like it's a whole instrumental, which is dope, and it gives you more dark vibe, more of like a trap beat, slower BPM, and then it gets into that ASAP track, which was cool. I like that dip, and then it gets into like another almost upbeat track, kind of. So it was just like an odd dip and then upwards. I don't know. I just think smaller would have been better in this case, but I really liked it. I did a lot.
I mean, try telling that to the labels, dude. Hell no, they're trying to collect, homie. Hey, maybe they could have been that they wanted to end it at red light. Fucking labels like, nah, fuck that. Put 4 more on that hoe. We're trying to collect the streaming. But yeah, I feel you though. Yeah, red light. They probably, from your stance, like they probably should have ended it there. Have you felt like that about a lot of albums you come across recently? Like, and even just like outside of EDM, do you feel like that's been happening? Are you coming across that like for you, or like you go through an album and then like maybe there's still 5 tracks left of the album, but you feel like at a certain track it was pretty much just like it already had presented itself like in its strongest presence of the concept, and then anything after that was just like you said, there just wasn't no cohesiveness. Or do you feel like a lot of these artists have been nailing it with like the album concept and like the concept of an album, I guess, not overdoing it. That's an interesting question that you bring it up. How to know when you're overdoing an album. That's interesting. Because
What
I
do
feel
you
like
think?
maybe sometimes people were like, oh, but there may not be enough on the album. But in this case, it's probably like, oh, it's more than enough. Like oh, that's interesting. Hmm.
What do you think's been coming out more lately? More artists with hella songs, or
When you say hella, like we need to define that amount. Like hella, like
over
20
13, 14?
over 13, 14. The albums that I've been listening to lately, specifically EDM, they've been coming like around that
Like which
15.
albums?
So there's Subtronics one. That shit has a fuck lot. I think I might even have about 20, bro. Subtronics has about 20.
Isn't that like a volume series?
He had released like an actual album. Yeah, I think. Oh, I mean, I don't know. I just know he had put out an album, but I don't know if this might. I don't know. He had I forgot the name of the album though. Excision had that album drop too. That had like 15, 20. There was a lot. Yeah, all of his tracks and some features.
And you think that was like a cohesive? Those were cohesive albums. That's a no.
Compared to the albums I listen to, like compared to hip hop, because I've noticed like more of the albums in hip hop are way more cohesive than the albums in EDM. I think you might have mentioned this too, like how you've noticed like in EDM albums, a lot of the tracks are just kind of like not cohesive with everything. Um,
I think the artists that have to do it, and the artists that don't have to do it, don't do it. I think there's just like a difference of what you want to do. Do you want to get more streams, or do you want to put out a project that means something? Because like in EDM, like there's stuff like that. Like Porter's done small albums.
mhm.
Like people do it small, cohesive albums. Flume's done it. You don't see 20 albums by Flume. They're very small and
It's fat,
cohesive,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know. So it's like I just think some artists just don't have it in them. I don't think, or maybe do. I don't know. Maybe they don't, because I don't see a lot of it.
Sometimes they don't.
But I mean,
Sometimes they do.
that's not their goal. For some artists, that's not their goal, and that's not the idea of what like music is for them. Not making an album. Some people work years on just one song, and then present it, put a bunch of promo into it. Hopefully, it's a hit type shit. But I mean, no, yeah, I don't know. I think it just depends on whatever the artist wants to do, for sure.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you mentioned it like in EDM. It seems like a lot more people are just focused on like singles and EPs, and it's rare that artists will push out like an album, even like an album of like 15, 20. And then like for me, like the how many tracks in an album, that really doesn't lay a factor in me to make it great. Like you said that a lot of those albums, like Porter Robinson, the stuff that he's done, other artists like that too, like they presented projects where it's not so many tracks, but they got the message across with like with the artistry in that album, man. Whether if it's 8, 10, 12. Yeah, you don't really gotta have a lot of tracks in an album, to get the point across.
Because I feel like at the same time when we're DJing and stuff like that, especially a lot of these events, what type of music are you DJing at the end of the night? It's party music.
Yeah, like
So in
raging
an
music.
album,
Yeah,
there's only so much room for that type of music, you know? There has to be a variety of music. And a lot of people are only catering to that crowd type
yeah,
shit,
yeah.
you know? So like they don't even understand the whole side of B-side records, of like small records just for the album
Yeah,
cuts.
and notice what you said too. That crowd, not their crowd, because it would be
I mean,
different
that
too.
could be
Like
their crowd though, you
no,
know?
no, no, for facts, but like there is that distinction though, where like and you see this to a bigger artist where they do feel comfortable now, where once they have their own solidified following, to where now they could go onto that album approach, and like they know that their fan base are gonna stick through that album choice and like go through it. I think when you're starting off, for sure, I think like doing an album, especially like when you DJing the shows, like late nights, like obvious like rave music, like bass house, like people want to rage for sure. I can see why many people would just be focused on singles and EPs, or just presented as like on a for those live settings. Because I mean, you tap into a lot of these mindsets of the DJs and producers, and they're trying to play shows, and the kind of crowd that these shows reel in, yeah, they're trying to be on that party mode. I've noticed the album approach is definitely more suited for like people that are in a controlled setting. That you can enjoy it. I think if you're not a really big fan of the artist, you won't enjoy the album unless you're at their show, or unless you're in a treated room where you can fully, like, no distractions, fully like pay attention to the album. And if you have a solidified following, that'll like once you like make an album tour, and that's like when you're way bigger. I mean, for sure. I mean, you could do that. It's more of a less of a risk to do an album tour, because you have a big following that'll take a chance on you to see these particular songs live, for sure. Because like when you do an album, I think there's specific tours for sure. I think when you do an album tour, I think you kind of for me, if I were to do an album tour, I would kind of go in with the idea knowing that for sure a lot of these people have checked out the album and they want to come see this in a live setting. But that wasn't the case for Getter though, which is interesting because he did that. He did that. I'm doing this album. It's a different direction. And like, if you guys want to come out, take a chance on it, let's take a chance. And obviously, we saw how that happened. Didn't work out too well, but that's the thing. And it's kind of like a risk because you never know how people are gonna react to certain songs in certain settings. Yeah, I don't know. Setting is important in how you're consuming music. I think the setting where you're at, like you mentioned, if you're at a festival, everyone's trying to turn up. You probably don't really want to listen to like a sad R&B track. You probably want to listen to like a more upbeat party type, like trap rap beat at a live setting. Most people are looking for those kinds of vibes at a festival. Yeah, I guess it just depends. You gotta know your audience. I think that's very important. Knowing your audience, knowing who you want to play, knowing the kind of events that you like to play, and what kind of events you're getting booked for. It's just knowing your audience. I think that's just very key too. Know your audience, look up your data, look up your analytics. Um, see, look into what tracks that you're seeing, have better responses than the other tracks. Dissect the audience, and just kind of keep on feeding into that. But I mean,
So what you just said, you're more analytic based then?
there's certain times where I'll go into the analytic phase just to kind of get more in depth of like what I would think I should take the direction of my music. Yeah. Yeah, like for me, yeah. If I want to capitalize, because I sometimes think about that, like, oh, how can I capitalize? If I've noticed if I'm getting a stronger response from Denver, I'll probably be a little bit more motivated to make more bass centric tracks. Or if I know that a lot of my like audience is coming from bass heavy states, countries, or cities, and I plan on doing an album, and I want to an expected good attendance at these shows, I probably would the album would probably be a little bit more inspired towards bass music. Yeah, yeah, like that's like sometimes how I sometimes make my music. Sometimes I see a certain analytics. I'm like, okay, like I could dive into this and I could still like be satisfied with it, like still be able to send my artistic message to it.
I feel it.
I mean, yeah, just
catering to the analytics. I feel it.
Yeah, but I can't. I won't carry. I won't carry the analytics if it doesn't fully represent like my artistic side. If that makes sense, because as an artist, you just always want to make sure what you're representing, like in a track, that's like that's representing you.
I think it just depends on how you build your audience. It's not like how you look at your analytics, because you can look at your analytics and then cater to what's working, or you can look at your analytics and be like, okay, these tracks aren't popping. I'm maybe promoting it wrong, advertising it wrong, but I'm not gonna divvy away from my artistic view based on what's popping more. I'm just gonna keep pumping out shit and making sure what I pump out is authentically me. Whether you're on it or not, I'm just gonna keep pumping, keep pumping. I think if you start catering too much, then you get like not boxed in, but then you get expected of things.
No, that's very true.
Like I think it can happen.
No, and it does happen.
So it's like it depends on how you build your audience. I think because some people build cult fan bases, So no matter what they play, people are coming out to see them. Period.
Or whatever project they're involved in, whether it's like an acting movie.
See, this whole thing goes into playing into your analytics. The whole why Getter shit didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, he was pumping into what was he pumping? He was catering to the headbangers and stuff like that. His promo, all of that, catering to the headbanging community, the bass community. And that's why when he put out this album, or when he did what he wanted to do, it was a flip. I don't think he had that cult following like he thought he did. He just had that wave of the bass music at the time. And then plus he did that. And then maybe when he did the show, they were expecting. And then plus that lineup though too.
True.
You also gotta look at that lineup, bro. Like
the
he's
supporting
not
acts?
bugging. Yeah, like that whole crowd is not bugging. Imagine like
wait, what do you mean they're not bugging?
Like when they flipped out on him, like they weren't tweaking. Like they had their own right to flip out on him. Like
yeah.
That just goes to how he built his audience, bro. Like that's it. If you had a cult following, they're gonna follow you anywhere.
No, that's true.
How do you wanna play your analytics to where I'm only gonna make the shit that's working outside, and then when I want to divvy left and make some shit that's actually me, that actually has feeling and shit like that, I put out a whole project like that and I try to play it outside, it don't work. How do you want to play that? Or would you rather pump out the shit that makes you feel some type of way that you're feeling, you keep just pumping that out and build a following off of that? You can play it both ways work. Some ways may be easier than the other. I don't know which way is better, but it's up to you. I feel like that's just the way to play it. But I mean, if you do, you at the end of the day, who's gonna tell you how to make it type shit, how to do what you want to do. There's just both sides to that coin, different ways to look at that.
Were you just playing devil's advocate for that, or do you like not try to like look at your analytics, or do you look at your analytics? Like, do you
I
try
don't
not to
give
like?
no fucks about. But
Okay,
I don't produce for other people, fam. When I'm on my laptop and I'm producing because I need to put some shit on paper. I need to make some shit. I got some shit in my head. Like, if I'm just gonna be on there to cater to other people, for what, bro? Like,
uh-huh.
there's no point. There's no. I'd rather people listen to my shit because I like it and they like what I like than try to make music for what other people like, hoping that when I play it, they're gonna fuck with it. I like what I like. I fuck with what I fuck with, and I'm pretty sure there's people out there that fuck with what I fuck with too. You know, like, so
So
maybe
it's
I'll
okay.
catch that attention.
So you don't get curious enough to know like where your listeners are coming from. Like you don't. It doesn't like you don't care enough to
That
like
doesn't
look
cater,
into it.
bro. I've seen my analytics. My analytics say people in. All right, so if I were to cater to
No,
my
yeah. I mean,
analytics,
no. I was
let
just.
me just, yeah, I get you,
Where?
but let me just go along with that. If I were to cater to my analytics, bro, I'd be making Korean music, dog.
I'm done.
So it's like that makes no sense, bro. That means, yay, I
No,
go
I
out
got
to
you.
Korea and fucking turn up.
Yeah.
That's what that means. It doesn't mean I cater to them more. Like, I don't why would I produce music for someone else? It's for me, dog. Like,
As it should.
period. And if you don't like it, then don't listen. I'm making this
Facts.
shit for me. I'm promoting it for me, and that's it. Like, I guess you can get caught up into the numbers and looking at it like that. But if you believe like what you feeling and your perspective and things, like, put it on paper, ride for it, promote it, do everything you need to do, push it, and your final product will be what you want it to be. Will be the effort you put into it, you know. And at the end, that's how I see it at the end of the day. But I mean, analytics do play a part. But I
So
just don't think you should cater to the analytics.
uh,
Period.
okay, I see what you're saying.
Like, I don't think because, oh, Denver's feeling my bass tracks, I'm gonna make more bass tracks for Denver. I don't think that's what I'm gonna do. I think, okay, well, cool. Denver likes when I make bass tracks.
Mm,
That's it. Like, I don't know.
I see
Like,
what you're saying.
maybe when I go to Denver, I could play more bass music when I
Mm,
DJ, but that's not gonna influence my production. I feel like that's another thing. You gotta take away your DJ mindset from your artist producer mindset. Because I
mm,
feel like that could be a detriment to some producers too.
okay.
Like, you're trying to
Like give an
produce,
example. Yeah.
you're trying to produce as if you're DJing in a club. That's not the way to think of
You're trying to
producing.
produce a video. Okay. Okay. I see
Like,
what you're
that's
saying.
not the way you should think of producing. Producing should come as, I'm in the studio. How am I feeling? Okay, and you put your feeling into
Mm,
the art. You feel me? Like,
yeah.
at a certain point, then you're just mimicking. You're just tracing. I mean, that could be a way to relate it, you know. But like, if you're a DJ, you gotta take that aspect away from your producing aspect, because I think like DJs that came as DJs first get that shit really fucked up. That they start DJing outside first, and they see what works for the dance floor, and then they'll start like making stuff for the dance floor. And
Mm, I got you.
if your whole aspect is to be a club DJ, that's what you
True.
do. You do that. But I mean, if you're trying to be a music artist, that's not that.
Mm,
You can't tell me one person that does that would be considered a top music streaming like artist. So what do you
got you.
want to be, a DJ or an artist? You know,
Mm,
and then what
true.
differentiates that? You know, so like, you could cater to how you see your DJing goes, or you can make your music DJ it, and then, you know.
Yeah. See how it plays out.
Like, think about it, for like, we could bring up Burn, for example. He was never a DJ.
No.
Was a producer, so he never knew or worked on the dance floor as a DJ
Mm,
mindset. He's making music because he likes it, because it makes him feel a certain type of way, and then he DJs it, and then the people get like, "Oh, this is dope." You feel me? Like
Hmm.
that's his perspective of thing, and I don't think he's catering because he never had that view of, oh, this is definitely gonna pop on the dance floor.
Uh-huh.
That's not his perspective. So for like, and that's where DJs, like I said, that's where DJs could kind of get it maybe fucked up, is that you're catering too much to what you're seeing on the dance floor or something like that. But that's not, that's only a certain aspect of music.